Welcome to another week of Experience Annie Wines Live. And today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, growth mindset versus fixed mindset. First, though, let's dig into gratitude. Every week I practice gratitude here on this show. And when I practice gratitude, it allows me to focus on what is important to me in this world, what it drives me, what makes me. It allows me to think about all the optimism within the world, right? Because confirmation bias tells us when we tell ourselves we're grateful, when we tell ourselves we're thankful, we will start finding things within this world confirm that assumption that we have. And it's a practice that I have struggled with through the years. And so I know once a week I come on here and I practice gratitude. And throughout the week, I remember and rethink about this moment I have that I share with you all. So today, my gratitude is very simple. I've been playing volleyball almost all my entire life. And I've been playing for the last 15 years down at Bradford Beach. And I have a crew down at Bradford Beach, spearheaded by Paul the Godfather Murray. Been going down there for years. I showed up yesterday here in Wisconsin to Bradford Beach, walked in, haven't seen people since September, maybe last year, and they were there, hugs and handshakes, catching up with me. Played about a dozen games of volleyball, won a few, lost a few, had a lot of good jokes, great son. And I'm very thankful that there's people in this world that accept me for who I am. These people have known me since before I was married, before I quit drinking, before I became a business owner, all these things. They knew me and they accepted me and they loved me then. And even today, as I walked in, they were excited to hear what's going on in my life. We got some great volleyball games in, and I'm very fortunate to have people in my life, acquaintances and friends, where I can come and go and feel accepted. And should you be in that same spot, you're blessed to have people that will take you. And in the same token, I was excited to see them. So grateful for that. Second order of business, speaking. I've been very fortunate lately. I booked a really big speaking gig this morning, one of the biggest in my career. So I'm really excited about that. And I want to know how I can impact your organization. I can do everything from workshops, 8 to 12 people, up to 50 to 75 in a workshop, right? Depending on the size of the workshop, all the way up to a keynote speech doing 500 plus people. So whatever your organization, whether it's nonprofit, for-profit, chamber of commerce, whatever I can do to impact your world, I'd love to hear from you. You can find me on anniewines.com, hit me up on LinkedIn. My phone number and email address are readily available. Feel free to hit me up. The gentleman found me last week on LinkedIn. He saw that I was at Waste Expo. And as of this morning, we inked a deal for me to come speak next month, 2 months from now in August at a 40 Under 40. And I'm really excited. It's one of the biggest speaking opportunities I've had in my life. They're coming. And so I'm going to continue to ask you, the audience, to give me those opportunities. All right, let's talk about growth mindset versus fixed mindset. I had the opportunity on Friday to attend an amazing speaker as part of my Vistage CEO Roundtable. Vistage, I spend one day a month, 8 hours diving into personal development. And with Vistage, we bring in speakers quarterly. And I met Dr. Evie Masita on Friday, and her whole 3 hours, we'll call it, was all about the difference between people with a fixed mindset and people with a growth mindset. And a lot of her work was studied by, or was based off a book written by Dr. Carol DeWitt. I'm looking at my notes here. I don't take notes often, so when I do take notes, it's because it's important. So Dr. Carol DeWitt's book, Mindset, is what this is all based off. And it's very simple. There's two types of people the theory comes up with, and those two types of people are either fixed mindset people or growth mindset people. And they gave us a chart, and this is where it really dawned on me. Really, I understood what they were saying. And this is what it is. Fixed mindset people, typically, and the research shows this, have more access, more opportunity, have a higher intellect, higher education at an earlier age. So things typically come relatively simple to them, right? And they grow and they scale and they get to a certain point of comfort and then they plateau, right? So from now on, when I think of fixed mindset people, those are my plateau people. They skyrocket up. They get to that spot way before the rest of us that are out there hustle and struggled and grind. The rest of us that got bullied and beat up. The rest of us that had to dig in, right? Some may say, oh, they had an easy trajectory. Maybe there was privilege and opportunity and education along the way that propelled them to a certain point. And then they got to this point of plateau. They got the degree, they got the title, they got the job, they got the house, they got the significant other, they got the 2.1 kids and the dog or the cat, right? And okay, they've made it. Or maybe they got that job right out of high school at 18 and I'm going to work for this company the rest of my life. And they made it. Or maybe they never even got out of their mom's basement and they played Call of Duty all day and they made it. Because they plateaued. They said, this is as good as it gets, and this is what I want. Those are the people that Do not chase discomfort. P.T. Barnum said, comfort is the enemy of progress, because the other people, the growth-minded people, they climb the damn mountain. They fall every day climbing the mountain. I said a couple days ago on Facebook, I found a meme that says, you are blessed to be stressed. Because to be stressed means you got something worth fighting for. You got something worth trying for. You got something worth dying for. And that's a hell of a thing to have. Versus the opposite of no stress, and then you have none of those things that matter. Maybe you don't have the kids, you don't have the job, you don't have the career, you don't have the ambitions, you don't have the big, hairy, audacious goal. And what a boring life that can be. And so the argument made is simple. The plateau people, the fixed mindset people, they get where they're going a hell of a lot faster than the growth mindset people. And yet they plateau. They get to that point and there they sit. They rarely fumble and bumble along the way because they have a very clear path of this is where I'm going to go. And once I get here, I have made it. And the growth mindset people, rather, the chart she used or the diagram she used was a mountain. You go up, you go down. You go up, you go down. You go up, you go down. And all along the way, you're progressing, right? And where you go and where the plateau people go is insignificant because you're going where you're going to go. And all the while, I thought of my analogy I use in my book, and I put in the concrete out back. It's on a piece of steel in the room right next to me. It says, hustle, struggle, grind. Enjoy the hustle getting up that mountain. Embrace the struggle. Often in times when it comes to taking on a new task, it's going to take you as much energy and as much time to do the first 90% as it is going to give you the last 10%. And then finally, enjoy the grind. You get on the other side, enjoy the fruits of that labor. Take the time, smell the roses, give back, pay it forward, do all those things because eventually you're going to endure the hustle again. There's going to be a new peak, a new challenge to take on because you're growth-minded. You're going to enjoy the grind. You're going to smell the roses and eventually you're going to say, oh, it's time for the next thing. It's time to level up. It's time to push myself. It's time to get uncomfortable with the world. And when you do that, you will achieve more than you ever thought possible. But I often think of a quote I heard years and years ago. It said, one of the best ideas in the world are not in a museum, not in a library, they're in a cemetery. Because people had these ideas within them, and they never let them come to fruition. Because they use limiting self-beliefs, limiting language, like I can't, I won't, I don't. Over the weekend, I thought about the things in my life that I'm struggling with. And I no longer say I can't, I won't, or I don't, or this is the problem here, or there's the problem there. No, I say, I struggle with this thing. I am now the victor of that statement. I have taken ownership. I can acknowledge that, yeah, life sucks. Sometimes I'm not up for it. Sometimes I don't have the skill, the will, the abilities, the attributions, whatever, to achieve the thing I want to achieve. And then I can say to the world, I struggle with this, and there's something I can do about it. And so the question then becomes, what am I going to do about it today? Jordan Peterson often talks about when you continue to miss the mark, when you continue to fail, maybe it's because you're aiming too high. Start aiming a little bit lower and start hitting the marks. The key to life is consistency and momentum, not motivation. And so my goal in this world is to change the world one word at a time. And my challenge to you is simple. Look at what you tell yourself when you're faced with adversity. Do you sit back and say, this is the way it is? I was raised this way. My political party affiliates or aligns with this idealism. My God won't allow me to think this thought. Right? Those are all fixed mindsets. Those are all, you're giving credence to someone that is not you. Listen to your true self. Answer those questions that you thought were rhetorical, because there are no rhetorical questions. Answer those questions and start using language with, I struggle with this. I want to achieve this. This is where I'm at, and this is my struggle. And then start asking yourself, what do I need to get from here to here? Who can support me getting there? What knowledge, skills, or abilities do I need to obtain? And when you have that answer, then you say, what are you going to do about it? And start answering that question. Every week I come on here, 35 shows. I've missed a few along the way. When I was during the holidays, I didn't do it and I missed them. I chose not to do them Christmas and New Year's. Otherwise, I'm here every week. This is what I do. Whether I get 2 viewers or 2,000 viewers, this is what I do. This is what I can do this week. I can put in one more week of time. I can reach out to 2 more people. I can send 2 more emails Tonight, I'm speaking in front of 125 Vietnam vets and Vietnam and Cold War vets for the most part, telling them my military story. I'm not getting paid $1. I spent 3 hours last night on my slide deck. I spent the last 2 weeks rehearsing different aspects. Where do I want to go with the story? What emotions do I want to invoke? I put all that effort in to make $0 and 0 cents tonight. And I couldn't be happier. Because it's one more opportunity I get to be in front of people. It's one more chance I get to tell the story of my life, challenge people that are of an older population to see the world differently. One more opportunity to get on stage, one more rep. Kobe wasn't the greatest basketball player of all time because he woke up one day. He put in the reps. Like Jordan put in the reps. What reps can you put in today? What have you failed at this week? One of the best questions I heard last week, Dr. Eve talked about it. She was quoting someone, and he said every week on Friday, he was asking his kids, what did you fail at this week? And he expected answers from them. What did you try to do, and it didn't turn out the way you did? Because ultimately, give yourself credit. You did the thing. And now it may not have met your expectations, and that's called life. And what'd you learn about yourself from that failure? And what are you going to do different next time? And when you fail over and over, you'll learn along the way. Failing is just a first attempt at learning. That's all it is, right? It's a churched up little acronym. Fail early, fail often, pick yourself up. Make 1,000 $10 choices that cost you a lesson, because eventually you're going to make one $10,000 choice. Fail early, fail often. Look at the language you tell yourself when you start going down this road of self-limiting beliefs. Oh, I don't do that. I can't do that. How is that serving you? Go back to your goals. Go back to your vision board. Go back to your aspirations. Put a deadline on it and say, okay, what do I need to do today to get where I want to go? And accept the fact that enduring the hustle, embracing the struggle, and enjoying the grind are all part of it. Right now in our company, we are struggling. We are at peak season. We are rocking and rolling, and we don't have the right staff right now. And I know we're at that last 10%, couple key players, couple key tweaks in our recruiting process, and we're going to be right there. And I know we've done 90% of the work. And I can sit back and say, woe is me. Why isn't it working? No, I can say, hey, we're right there. I can see it. As close as you get to the mountaintop, that's when your vision becomes hazy. That's when you're watching every individual step, because every individual step matters. As you get closer to your goals, what do you need to continue to sell yourself to keep that motivation and the momentum going? Motivation will get you convinced to go climb the mountain. Momentum will get your ass up that mountain. Be comfortable with failure. Enjoy the discomfort of failure. And eventually you will chase that discomfort. You will use your discomfort as your fuel. Every time you fail, you'll look forward to the next failure, because you know on the other side of failure is learning. And overall, that is how you build resilience. I talk about it in my book. It's right here. Retrain your brain to use language that serves you. When you find the language within yourself that serves you, you become resilient. You become the victor of your story instead of the victim of your circumstance. You can quickly compartmentalize what is controllable, what is uncontrollable, and what am I going to focus on. You can choose to feed the wolf of love and abundance versus the wolf of hate. When you choose the words that you feed your soul and your spirit. This week, your challenges are very simple. Look at the areas of your life you're unhappy with. Think to yourself, if I could change one thing, what would it be? And what is stopping me from doing it? Chances are you're stuck in a fixed mindset. You've already convinced yourself you're unable, incapable of it. What new information, data do you need to put into your vernacular so you can go out and slay those dragons? We all have something inside of us. We all have those burning embers. They might have been suppressed. You might have other people throwing water on them on a regular basis. Get rid of those people. Get rid of those ideas that no longer serve you. And start to input the victor statements within you. Give yourself that opportunity of a growth mindset. I challenge you to look up these books, the two women I talked about, Dr. Carol DeWitt and Dr. Eve Masita. I learned so much the other day from the two of them. Take on this challenge, take on this burden, take on one sentence today, reword one sentence today, and you will start to become the person you've always wanted to be. The challenge I have for you this week is the same as always. That ember is different with all of us. Figure out what that is. Do the fucking thing. Go out there and change the sentence. When you do that, you will do the fucking thing. Tell the fucking world. When you put it on paper, when you put it out to the universe, the likelihood of it coming true goes up exponentially because now you're accountable to yourself and the entire universe. And finally, when you arrive, always show the fuck up. I'm Andy Wines. We'll see you next week.